Welcome to Intuitive Alchemy, where we recode your reality from the inside out. I'm your host, Sydney, trained intuitive, energetic alchemist, and certified hypnotherapist. And this podcast is here for the woman who is done playing small. Here, we go deep into energy, identity, universal law, source truths, and the neuroscience behind what actually creates lasting change. No fluff, no filters, just conversations that shift your frequency and call you back to the most powerful version of you, the one who knows it was always her and it can only be gotten from her. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to Intuitive Alchemy, where we recode our reality from the inside out. Today, we are going to dive into something that is really personal that I'm going through right now in real time. And it's just incredibly foundational to healing and really to manifesting as well. And I mean, really just to everything that you could imagine, which this is the nervous system. Okay. So that's such a popular term this year. I feel like so much content that I'm seeing is about the nervous system and nervous system regulation, and for such good reason. This is not just a buzzword or a buzz term. This is the root of everything. And I'm really, really learning and realizing that in my life. And so what I have learned about myself is that my nervous system has been stuck in what's called functional freeze for quite some time. And now I'm actively healing that, and I'm working to shift out of that freeze mode right now as we speak. And so I'm going to talk to you about, first of all, what does that look like? How do you know if you are in that state too? I mean, it's actually incredibly common. It's not just for people who have had capital T trauma. This is really, it can come on in so many different ways or for so many different reasons. But if you've ever felt like you're exhausted for no reason, no amount of rest ever helps, your motivation has just completely disappeared. You feel like you're just lazy, or you're just not trying hard enough, you're not disciplined enough. This episode is for you. You are not lazy. You're definitely not broken or too far gone or anything like that. You might just be frozen, literally. Your nervous system may just be stuck in a frozen state to protect you. And a lot of people just don't know that. And I mean, I was aware of it. I had heard that term and everything, but I just don't think, I must not have realized that that is what I've been experiencing for a long time. So first, let's just do a little background on the nervous system and what it is. So the nervous system is basically the control center for how safe or unsafe we feel in our bodies. And it's not logical, it's 100% biological. So it governs literally everything from your digestion to your hormones to how you think, how you move, sleep, connect with others, and whether or when your nervous system feels safe, you're more open. You have a more open heart space. You're regulated. You're energized. You're in flow. If you identify with feminine energy, you're more in your feminine energy. And when it's dysregulated, you are living in more of chronic stress, trauma. So you're in survival mode, and it can really kind of snap into one of the three responses, which I'm sure you've heard, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn is the other one that's not as much talked about. And what I have been in for years now is functional freeze. And it's kind of the most insidious, I guess you could say, because from the outside, you look fine. You function, like you get shit done. You're still showing up for people. From the outside, it looks like you're just the same. Like you're doing the same things you normally would do. And like you are showing up and you're getting your work done, or whatever. But inside, the body is actually like shutting down. You're becoming emotionally numb, you're disconnected. Everything just kind of feels like foggy. You're tired, unmotivated. You feel like you're dragging, like your body is just like heavy, and it feels awful, really. It really does not feel good. And it feels also a lot the same as what I've never been diagnosed with like depression or anything, but I have studied depression, and I'm familiar like with the symptoms. And so a lot of these things can sound and feel a lot like depression, like clinical depression, or even ADHD, specifically like how it presents in women. And so last year, I would say, gosh, I don't know, maybe like the fall of last year, it was before I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, Hashimoto's, and hypothyroidism and all of that. And I just knew like something was wrong. And I had gotten labs done. I had gone to like actual physicians, like not naturopathic, not holistic, but actual physicians, and was not like, I was basically just being gaslit. Like, oh no, everything's fine. Like you don't have this, your thyroid looks good, blah, 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 blah. It's all quote unquote normal. Well, actually it's not, but that's another topic kind of. So basically, I just knew something was wrong, and I knew that the version of myself that I had been previously, where I was feeling so just like energized and motivated and connected and happy, and like just I was in my flow, like I wasn't feeling that anymore. And there was no like reason for me to not be feeling that, because I was in such a great relationship. Like I am in such a great relationship, and I had just moved to this new city that I was so excited about with my partner Corey. And I mean, like everything about my life was like better than it had ever been, essentially. But I was feeling like the worst. And that was really a tricky thing to be experiencing. And so somehow I ended up seeing like several videos on TikTok about how ADHD can be presented in women, and how oftentimes women are misdiagnosed or just like not diagnosed at all whenever we have ADHD. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm seeing these videos and I'm like, wow, like I have a lot of these symptoms, like, wow. And honestly, like it just got to a point where I was feeling like I just couldn't do it. Like I just was like, I can't do this like day-to-day life. Like I'm actually feel like I'm drowning. And so I went against literally like everything I believe in, and I made an appointment. And and I got prescribed. I like made an appointment because I was just like, you know what? I want to be put on ADHD medication, but I just want to see if that, like, maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's like the one thing that I've been missing, and like this whole time I've been struggling, and it's really just that. And so I made the appointment. She asked me like a bunch of it wasn't like a full psych eval, but it was just like a bunch of psych questions. And at the end of it, she was like, well, basically, like, I can't diagnose you with ADHD formally because you didn't show like these symptoms as a kid, which I think that's kind of crazy that they can't diagnose you as something as an adult if you didn't show certain symptoms as a kid. That was kind of weird to me, but anyway, but she was like, I will go ahead and, like, you're clearly struggling, so I will go ahead and prescribe you a Wellbutrin, which is an antidepressant, but it's very heavily used for ADHD as well because of the way that it interacts with your neurotransmitters. So I was like, all right, sign me up. Like, even though my intuition immediately was like, no, that's not the answer. Like, you are not someone who takes a medication as a band-aid. And that's absolutely no judgment if you are on any kind of a medication. Like, I mean, I'm on thyroid medications, but this particular thing, like, I just knew that it wasn't the answer for me and that was not the root cause, but like literally I was just desperate and I just like didn't even care. So I went against my intuition. I went and I filled the prescription. She put me on the lowest dose possible. And so I took it the next morning, and I kid you not, like, I want to say 20 minutes or so after I took it, I felt like a severe allergic reaction coming on, which I already was familiar with the feeling of the allergic reaction because I have had that same exact anaphylactic allergic reaction before. I'm allergic to codeine, like in pain, like opiates. Pain pills. So I knew exactly what was happening as soon as like my throat started doing the thing, my chest starts tightening, and I'm like, fuck. All right, cool. Guess we're doing this again. And so it was just like instantly my higher self just like wouldn't even allow me to take this route because that was not the problem. Whether or not I have ADHD, like, it's really irrelevant. I still do have like some of the symptoms of it, but like that is irrelevant and that's not the problem here. So what had happened, now I'm understanding, like, 7 or 8 months later, now I'm understanding that what had happened is as I mentioned in a previous episode, I had a pretty traumatic, marriage, but then I worked through that. I felt that I did work through that after. And then when I was dating, I had a really traumatic experience with a narcissist before, like a few months before I met Corey. And it was really after that experience that I really noticed a lot of changes in my body and my mental health. And I just kind of moved through that and didn't really understand the full magnitude of what that meant and what that did to me, what that did to my nervous system. I just kind of kept it moving. And that is also a pattern of mine, is just kind of, all right, keep it moving. And not wanting to really sit in discomfort for any length of time. And I'm like the best of the best of the best at intellectualizing anything. So that's not a good thing either. Like, that's not me bragging. That's actually not good. That I can just intellectualize and justify and like understand anything on an intellectual level without really necessarily feeling it, which feeling it is how you heal it and how you allow it to move through you. So basically what I'm saying is that those things, that trauma, that experience, everything that experience stirred up in me then stayed in my body. And I was unaware of that. But then all of a sudden, after that happened with him, the traumatic experience with the narcissist, I now looking back, like, it makes so much sense because I started having all of these really really awful physical health issues or reflections, as I now know that they were, such as I would just start getting these random sore throats, like extreme, like the worst sore throat you could imagine, but it like wasn't strep throat, it wasn't anything. Like that would be the only symptom, is just an extreme sore throat and like swollen lymph nodes for like 2 days, and then it would be like it never happened, and it was no fever, like nothing like that. And so that happened a few times. I had kidney stones, which was crazy severe, and like just, oh my God, horrible pain, wouldn't wish it on anyone. And several, like there was like a month where I think it was like the month before I met Corey, I was sick like 3 times that month, and I think I also got food poisoning from Chick-fil-A. So it was just like, oh my God, like my nervous system, now I'm just like, my poor nervous system, like it literally just couldn't. And also during this time, I'm still kind of also shaming myself for allowing, I guess, for being vulnerable enough, or being like what I would call, I wouldn't say this now, but at that time I kind of felt dumb for getting involved with the narcissist at all, because like, quote unquote, I should have known better. Like I was more healed. I should have been more healed than that. I should have seen through it. I should have listened to the red flags, like blah, 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 blah. All those things, guilting and shaming myself. And so that is basically attacking myself. And so then that absolutely doesn't help the nervous system. And in turn, that turns into an autoimmune disorder, because what is an autoimmune disorder? It's when your own immune system is mistakenly attacking tissues in your own body. And so that is a direct reflection of like what I was doing to myself. And this wasn't literally only from the narcissistic abuse, but it was like triggered by that. Obviously, that was also a wound that was already in me from somewhere else earlier in my life. But this was the thing that like brought it back to the surface and was like, bam, you can't ignore this anymore. Like you are going to freaking address this now, my higher self said, apparently. So then fast forward to when I meet Corey, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm over the moon. Like he's so sweet. He's so safe. He is just like the most calming, like sweet presence, and so steady, never making me have to guess or do any kind of a mental gymnastic routine trying to figure out, what he's about and who he is and what he wants with me. And so suddenly, like I wasn't surviving, alone anymore. And then my body, I noticed like my symptoms started to get kind of worse once we got together. And that was very confusing to me at first. Like I started putting on more weight and just not like feeling even more tired and just not feeling good and not feeling motivated. Like I used to literally go to yoga almost every day, and like not because I was like, oh, I need to do this because my body needs to look a certain way. Like no, I literally did it because I loved it so much and like just truly loved being in my body. I loved moving my body and like practicing these really amazing poses. Like I would just feel so much pride whenever I could achieve like a new pose, and it just felt so good to be out of my mind and in my body in yoga. And then I stopped even like, I was still teaching a lot, but like aside from that, I stopped wanting to literally do anything that would cause me to be like connected to my body. Really, I just couldn't. I didn't even have the energy. And that was like really sad, because I was like, I didn't understand why I was not wanting to do the things that I used to love to do. And then of course, like whenever you stop exercising, like it's a vicious cycle, you know, you don't feel as good. And anyway, so basically I get with Corey, my body starts, it like realizes, my nervous system like realizes, okay, now you're safe enough to actually like kind of really go like live back through this trauma and like heal this trauma. And so that's what was happening. I started gaining the weight like more rapidly. And I say more rapidly, I mean, I gained probably like 20 pounds and over the course of like several months. And Corey's also a chef. So at first I was like, you know, he's just cooking for me all the time. You know, that's why I'm gaining weight, and you know, people gain weight when they're happy and blah 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 blah. But then I was like, that's not my story. Like, I don't believe that. I mean, yeah, it can be, but like, we live a healthy lifestyle, we eat organic, we really pay attention to like what we're putting in our bodies. Like, it's not that. So I just kind of like knew that there was more to it, and so I started getting all the lab work done, and they're like, no, you're still fine. Like, you don't all your stuff is in the normal range. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm not crazy. Like, something is wrong. So anyway, then we moved to Arizona. I go through the whole Wellbutrin thing, have the allergic reaction, and get diagnosed eventually with Hashimoto's disorder. And so that was like actually a good thing to me. I mean, it's certainly not like a great diagnosis, but to me it was like, at least it was an answer. At least it was, I'm not crazy and I'm not being gaslit into like thinking that it's just in my head, or I'm just being a hypochondriac or something. And so let me just take it back here. I'm sorry. I have a bunch of notes, but at this, like, I'm just riffing because this is I mean, I literally am living through this like right now. So, but I'm trying to like give you some backstory so that you can understand like where this kind of came from. But okay, let's get back to like, I just want to talk about some signs that you might be in functional freeze, because you might be sitting here listening to me say all this and be like, okay, but Sydney, what is functional freeze? So let me tell you. Okay, so I got a lot of this information from the person that I'm learning from and that I'm helping, that is helping me heal from this. And it is, her Instagram is The Workout Witch, and that's her website as well, but her name is Liz Tenuto. And she's amazing. So highly recommend following her and like doing any of her programs. But, okay, so here are some signs that you might be stuck in functional freeze if you have like a couple or more of these on a regular basis. I'm just going to list through them. So sitting in your car for 10 to 15 minutes after arriving somewhere, even if it's just like back to your house, canceling plans, not wanting to leave your house. And side note, especially if like this whole not wanting to leave your house thing, there's a huge link between narcissistic abuse and like agoraphobia, or just really like having an aversion to leaving your house. So I thought that was really interesting, because I did notice like after even now, like sometimes it's hard for me to leave my house. Just the thought of like going out and being stimulated and like being in public is like just too much some days. And I've already done like so much healing. So anyway, okay, moving on. Feeling emotionally numb or disconnected, slumped posture, shallow breathing, like you're kind of hunching over to like protect your heart space, sensory overwhelm or overstimulation, constant brain fog, dissociation, being on autopilot, isolating, avoiding connection or conversation, spacing out, losing track of time, like you're in a time warp. I do this all the time. Chronic fatigue that doesn't go away with rest, feeling like everything is too much, even brushing your teeth or showering some days can feel like really like monumental tasks. And so if you're like, okay, yeah, yes, that's me, to several of those, you might be experiencing functional freeze where your nervous system is just like in a freeze state, and you're still, like I said earlier, you're still showing up, you're still doing the things. So maybe people don't realize that you're actually bed rotting, like on any time that you actually have that's like for you, any free time that you have. You're just like, literally all I can do is sit in bed and like scroll on my phone. Or that's another symptom too, is like, or another sign, is like you are sitting there like watching a show on Netflix or something, but you're actually not watching it and you're just sitting there on your phone scrolling. That is another sign. Like you're just like numbing out and you just like can't even focus on a show that you literally want to watch. That's another sign. And the bed rotting, that's a huge sign. Oh, and you know what? I want to tell you another one too. I didn't write it down here, but this one had me like, oh, wow. So it's this like, it's like waiting mode. So if you have, let's say, an appointment at 2 p.m. and you like all morning and afternoon leading up to this appointment, you're just like in this waiting mode where you're like, well, I can't really start this other task, or I can't really do this, or I can't go anywhere before because like, what if I lose track of time and da 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 da. Like you're just like literally frozen waiting for this thing that's not even happening until 2 p.m. and it's like 9 a.m. or whatever. So that one, I just was like, oh, okay, like, so other people experience this too. Like that's not just me. And so if you're familiar with ADHD, you can see that several of these symptoms like overlap with that, but it doesn't mean, like, it could be both or it could be just one or the other. So anyway, okay, I'm going to go through and tell you, I don't even know how many it is here that I have written down, but literally exactly what I'm doing to heal my nervous system and get out of functional freeze right now in real time. Okay, so nervous system, first of all, I just want to say it is not mindset work. Okay. Mindset is amazing. And I'm obsessed with mindset work, like actually probably too obsessed with mindset work, but here's what I'm learning. You cannot outthink a biological issue. A nervous system response is not a mindset issue. It is not that like you're just not you haven't mastered yourself enough, or you haven't mastered your mindset enough, or you're just like weak or undisciplined, unmotivated. A nervous system issue is none of those things, okay? So if you are experiencing nervous system dysregulation, it is not because you just need to fix your mindset. And I just like I know I just said that like 3 times, but I need you to understand that, because that is something that I am like really learning and embodying now, because as I have shared, I can intellectualize the shit out of anything. And that is what I have done. And that is part of why I'm here, where I am now with a dysregulated nervous system, is because thinking about something more is not going to, or thinking about healing more, learning about healing more is not going to actually do the healing or regulate your nervous system. It's not going to let your body know that you're safe. Okay. So just please know that. Here is exactly what I have been doing. The biggest one for me has been somatic movement, and I've been doing this daily. I am doing the workout, which is Trauma and Stress Relief Program, which is a 30-day program. I actually, funnily enough, I had bought this like a few years ago when I first discovered her on Instagram, and I saw like a bunch of her stuff. I was like, ooh, I like this. This like resonates with me. And I had bought this program and then like forgot about it, didn't even do it. And so as I was kind of like relearning about all of this, like I don't know if maybe I saw some of her stuff pop up again on Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh. So then I start like doing a lot more research on the functional freeze, and I'm like, okay. And then I also intuitively tested, is this what's going on with me? And I'm like, it's like an overwhelming yes. And so so I was like, I remembered, hey, I bought one of her programs. Let me go back and like look into that. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm almost halfway through the program, and it's already like doing so much for me. And I'll get into like the changes that I'm noticing a little bit later in the episode. But basically these movements, like it's not a workout. It's like shaking, rocking. It's not even stretching. It's a lot of rocking, which is a super, super soothing motion for your nervous system. It's very gentle stretching. Like it's very easy. And it feels really nourishing, like really, really, really nourishing. And she says several times, like in every day's, like not episode, but in every day's training that she leads you through, she's like, see how small you can make this movement. How can you do this in the laziest way possible? And so it's really not about like, how hard can you go and how far can you push this stretch? Like it's literally not about that at all. And so these movements are like retraining your nervous system to discharge all of the stored trauma in your body, because the issues are in the tissues. They always are. The body keeps the score. Probably heard that before. I have that book on my bookshelf. So it's allowing that trauma to release from the body, and apparently there's going to be a big release, like what emotional release, probably here in a few days for me. So I'll report back on that and let you know how that went. But yeah, can't recommend that enough. She has several different programs. I'm definitely going to do like more of her stuff once I finish this, because I like it's really, really good and it's really helping. Second thing is I am eating breakfast first thing in the morning. So I used to fast until like around lunchtime, or like maybe like 11, like 10 to 12 is when I would usually eat, but I would have coffee. Like I would get up and immediately have coffee, and then nothing until late morning, early afternoon. And what I've learned is that for women, like that works for men. Like that's totally fine for men. But of course, as we're finding out now, so many of these things that are like biohacking things and like cold plunging and intermittent fasting, like all these things are amazing for men, and they're really fucking bad for women. So for menstruating women. So I am not doing that anymore. I am waking up, taking my thyroid medication, which I have to wait 30 minutes at least before I have anything other than water after I take that. So I am getting up, having my thyroid medication. While I wait that 30 minutes, I'm going outside and I'm getting morning sunlight in my eyes. So that's another really, really, really important thing to get your circadian rhythm balanced. Yeah, I don't know, like what word am I trying to look for there? I don't know. But getting your circadian rhythm optimized, I don't know. The word that I'm wanting to use is escaping me there. But it helps with hormone balance, having your circadian rhythm working the way that it should. And so I'm getting my morning sunlight, and then I go and immediately have like a small breakfast with my coffee. So I'm not having coffee on an empty stomach, which can of course have an impact on your cortisol levels. So, okay. Another thing I'm doing is I'm taking Epsom salt baths like multiple times a week, probably at least 3 times a week. and I'm putting in the bath, like I'm not just sprinkling a little bit of Epsom salt. I'm doing like at least 4 cups of Epsom salt. Usually it's 4 cups. But sometimes it might be a little bit more. And so magnesium, especially when it's absorbed through your skin, like in a bath, it is so good for calming your nervous system because you're absorbing that into your bloodstream. And it also is incredibly good for your gut health and rebuilding your gut lining, the mucous membranes in your body, which gut dysbiosis, leaky gut is incredibly common whenever you have nervous system dysregulation, and certainly if you have an autoimmune disorder as well. So it also just like taking these baths, like I love a bath anyway, but it just makes me feel so relaxed and like sleepy and just kind of like, you know, that feeling whenever you just got a massage and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm just like melted now. Like that's what these baths do to me. And it's so nice, and I make like a ritual of it, so it just feels really, really nourishing and good. I look forward to it every day whenever I do it. So another thing I'm doing is I am not labeling food as good or bad anymore. And so this is something like I definitely care a lot, and I put a lot of intention on what I put in my body. And I've been gluten-free for over a decade. I've been vegan before. I've been dairy-free before. I do my best to avoid like seed oils. I eat organic as much as I possibly can whenever it's in my control. And, you know, I don't eat artificial dyes, like all of that. But sometimes I was still telling myself this story of like, well, if I eat this, then I might gain weight, or if I eat this, it might undo like the workout that I just did, or, you know, whatever, like even if it is like a quote unquote healthy thing, but it was high calorie, like I was still telling myself like this story of it might be bad for me. And then like essentially whatever energy or frequency you're in, whenever you ingest something, like that is the same energy that it's going to be digested and processed like in your body in. And so I was finding that I was like, you know, maybe I would get myself a little, like I would be craving some like potato chips. And so I would get like the healthy kind of potato chips, like made with avocado oil, you know, not sunflower oil or whatever. And I would eat them and I would like enjoy them, but at the same time, I'm kind of shaming myself for having it. So then it's not an energy of like joy that I'm processing these chips in. It's now the energy of like guilt/shame. And that is certainly not good. So when your nervous system is safe and you're not telling yourself an unhelpful story, food can just be a form of like love and energy and not control or shame. So that's not an excuse to just like feed yourself really unnutritious food and just say, well, I'm doing it in joy. But also, it would probably be healthier to eat something a little bit less healthy in an energy of, in a frequency of joy and love, than to eat the healthiest meal ever, but to eat it in a frequency of like shaming or guilting yourself. So just keep that in mind as well. That's something that I'm really like catching myself doing. Okay. Joyful movement. Okay. So I've shared this in, last week's Alchemy Hit, or maybe it was the week before, and talking about basically like wanting to have a certain physical result, such as maybe weight release or something, and doing something like doing your workout in that kind of energy, like as a punishment, or like I'm thinking about it, and now I'm frustrated that I'm not seeing the result. But like that, it's kind of the same thing with the food. So if I'm doing a workout, like a strength training workout, with only the goal of my body like looking a certain way, or of it almost being like a punishment because I just want to release this weight and I want my body to like look how it used to look or whatever, that is probably not going to get me the result that I'm wanting, because the energy is not backing it up. Like maybe I'm doing the movement, the physical thing, but the energy behind it is not aligned and it's not out of love. And so what I was finding is I was doing workouts that I wasn't like really enjoying, and that wasn't good for me. I would recommend not doing workouts that you don't like. I mean, yeah, obviously like workouts are going to be tough and parts of it, you're probably going to be like, oh, I hate this. But if you're not at the end of it feeling like amazing and feeling glad that you did it, or you're not like looking, even when it's over, you're going, I can't wait to do that again, even though, it was hard or whatever. And that's not how I was feeling. And so I also had been in an intuitive reading that I had done with one of my friends. She was like telling me that I needed to move my body like in more of a fluid way, like in a more of a fun and fluid way, kind of like dancing, or just kind of like freestyling it, I guess you could say. And so while I'm doing the somatic stuff from the workout, which like I said, that's not a workout, that's more like therapeutic. And so I still wanted to exercise. And so I had seen a few ads for this app called The Class. And so I was like, okay, I've seen this multiple times. Like, let me just look more into it and see like, what's this about? Because their whole kind of like marketing and messaging was basically like, it's a mix of like somatic movements, like trauma release, and all of that mixed with some cardio, mixed with some Pilates inspired movements, mixed with some yoga, like mixed with just all kinds of different, like it's very musically inspired as well. And so I was just kind of intrigued by that. And I was like, okay, well, my higher self said, maybe some dance would be good or something. And so I was like, well, let's just see. So I signed up for the class and I love it so much. Love it so freaking much. And I'll leave a link to, if you want to sign up and sign up for it, I'll put a link in the show notes. But it is so fun. Like there are so many classes, and the way it's set up, it's like the class for when you don't want to work out, the class for nervous system regulation, the class for heart opening, the class for when you're feeling like you're in a funk, the class for when you sat all day long, you did too much sitting. So it's like, that's how they're titled. And so you kind of like know going into it, kind of the energy of whatever it's going to be. And which I really like. I like not knowing exactly what's going to happen in the class, but knowing like this is probably how it's going to make me feel, or this is the goal with this particular class. And they're all like varying lengths. There's super short ones, and then there's ones that are like an hour and a half long, and lots of different teachers. It's great music. It's a lot of free movement. So it will be structured in some parts of the class, and then in some parts it's literally like move to this music, move to this song, like rock, jump, move, just literally freestyle dance, literally do whatever you want. And that feels a little bit like ooh to me, because I'm really not like a dancer, and but it is actually like I love it. And I'm looking forward to it. Like even right now, I haven't done my class yet today, and I'm going to do it after I record this. And now I'm like getting excited because it's so fun. So I'm letting movement be more about how it feels and not forcing it, and like doing it in an energy of I have to do this, or I need to do this, because again, like that's not having the desired result, and it's also not helping my nervous system. All right. And then the last thing is skipping meditation or anything that's going to have me too much like in my head or too much in like a visualizing, daydreaming state, which is kind of where I live. Like that's kind of my thing. But choosing movement instead, choosing to be in my body instead. So meditation is great, of course, as we know. But if you're in a functional freeze or you're in any kind of a frozen nervous system state, sitting still and like being just in your meditative state actually makes it worse. And it makes it way harder to like get out of that, to snap out of that and get up. And I have experienced this time and time and time and time again. So just know if you're in any kind of a freeze, like don't go sit on your bed and meditate, because like you probably won't even be able to get up and like do anything with your life after like for that rest of that day. You need to move your body. Like that, moving your body, getting out of your mind and getting into your body is the fix for this. And that's what I'm learning. Okay. All right. So I want to tell you, I know this is long, but I'm going to just go over somewhat briefly as I can, what I'm noticing since I have started doing these things. And it's a lot. Like it's actually, like I said, I've been doing this for a couple weeks now and like intentionally focusing on this for a couple weeks, and already a lot has changed. So since doing this work, I have started feeling more. Like literally just feeling, not just thinking, not just, knowing or intellectualizing. Like I've cried a lot, which I've always been like, I'm not really a crier. And like, honestly, there have been so many times in my life when I've said that, like almost in a, like a prideful way of like, yeah, I'm not really emotional. I'm not really a crier. Like, blah, blah, blah. But now knowing what I know, like that's actually not like necessarily a great thing. It actually meant that I was not feeling and processing all of like the full range of my emotions. So I am feeling a lot more. And is that fun all the time? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Some things that have happened that I probably previously would have just been like, whatever, like I understand that on an intellectual level, so I'm not going to get my feelings hurt about it, or I'm not going to be sad about it or whatever. Like I am actually feeling really sad about. So this work is not like, it's not always fun, and it's certainly not for the faint of heart. Next thing, I'm actually looking forward to moving my body. So after over a year of, like I said, really not finding joy in doing yoga, not finding joy in doing really anything that just got me more into my body and out of my head, like that just did not feel good to me. I am now looking so much forward to moving my body and knowing that like it doesn't have to be this whole thing. Like it doesn't have to be about burning a certain amount of calories. And in fact, half the time I'm not even wearing my Apple Watch during, like I'm not even tracking most of these workouts. Like if I have it on, I have it on. But if I don't, then I'm not like, oh my God, this workout didn't even count because I wasn't wearing my Apple Watch. And that's literally like how I used to feel. I remember I went to a yoga class several months ago here in Phoenix, and I forgot my watch, and I was like so disappointed. It was almost like literally what was the point of even doing it? And that is missing the point. Who cares if I got credit for doing a workout on my freaking Apple Fitness health app or whatever. Like, who actually cares about that? That has no impact on literally anything. What does have an impact is moving my body, like, for my nervous system, and being present and breathing and not being in my head about getting credit on the app. So anyway, looking forward to moving my body. And letting it be what it is. If one day my energy is lower, then I choose like a 30-minute class instead of an hour class on the app that I was just talking about. Or if one class is like more cardio heavy and I'm not really feeling like I want to have that much impact in like jumping or anything, then I make it more gentle where I need to, like letting my body intuitively lead me, but still choosing the movement and just adapting it as needed. Another thing I'm noticing is when I'm waking up, for one, I'm sleeping better. So that's really good. I'm sleeping better. And then when I am waking up, my jaw is not sore. So I used to be like a really bad jaw clencher. Like, I don't grind my teeth, but I clench my teeth, my jaw. And I mouth tape every night. I've been doing that for years, and that does help. But like within the last, I would say 6 to 8 months, it like flared up again, and I was really clenching. And like, so I would wake up and my neck would be stiff. My jaw would literally hurt. Sometimes even my teeth would hurt. And I've literally just within the last few days, I've noticed that like I'm waking up not feeling that at all. And I can tell by how it feels now that I am literally not clenching my jaw when I sleep. So that's massive. My digestion has improved. I will say that has been like when I first started doing all of this nervous system healing, my digestion got worse. It got worse. It was literally like detox symptoms. And however, now it has gotten better. So it got worse before it got better. Another thing I've noticed is that I am snacking less, and it's not because I'm like trying to. I'm just like thinking less about food. And it's not that I was obsessive about food before, but it's like I'm just more, I don't know, like I'm just more regulated. Like I'm not thinking about, okay, what's the next thing I'm going to eat, or what are we going to do for dinner? Like, I mean, I'm like thinking about that on some level, but I don't know how to explain it. I'm just snacking less, and I'm less concerned about food. Like, it will be mealtime and I'll be like, oh, I'm really hungry. Good. Like, it's dinner time. Now I'm going to eat dinner, versus maybe at 3 p.m. being like, I'm starting to get a little bit hungry. Like, maybe I'll go have an apple or da 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 da. So that's something that I've noticed. I have noticed also that I'm just feeling a lot more like tenderness and love toward myself, instead of a lot of the ways that I used to experience shame, toward myself, experience shame, or to shame myself, or to should on myself. I used to like should on myself a lot. Like, I should do this. I'm just being a lot more gentle with myself and a lot more loving. And I'm also catching triggers like fast. And actually, I probably do feel like I'm getting triggered more now that I think about it. Now that I'm saying this out loud, I think I'm probably getting triggered a little bit more. But what the difference is like I said, I'm feeling more. So that's probably why I'm getting triggered more. And what's happening and what I'm noticing is that I'm like almost instantly able to trace these triggers back to their emotional root causes. And so it's not like, whereas I used to maybe need a little bit of time to kind of think and be like, okay, well, where was the first time I felt this? Like, was it when I was a kid? Blah, blah, blah. Was it at school? Was it with friends? Was it with my parents or whatever? Like, I'm pretty much now immediately able to be like, this feels exactly like when I was however old, and like this, I'm like really able to track it back to that original root cause and identify that like quickly. next thing, I am just noticing that I'm seeking somatic release so much. So, like, for instance, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. It was the day before yesterday. I was feeling just like really kind of anxious, and I wasn't exactly sure, like where it came from necessarily. Like I had a few ideas, but I was just feeling this sense of kind of anxiety, and like my chest was kind of tight, and it wasn't like I wasn't triggered over anything. Like this was just like I was just feeling this in my body, not because of something someone said or did. And what I noticed was I literally, instead of like sitting there and just like kind of numbing out and just kind of checking out by scrolling or turning on a show or whatever, I literally stood up from the couch and like just kind of started shaking and like lifting up on my tippy toes and then back down on my heels, like on the ball of my feet, back to my heels. Like I literally just started kind of moving like in that up and down to just like shake out the energy and move out the energy. And then I'm like taking deep diaphragmatic breaths, and just I'm noticing that I'm going to the somatic more than I ever would have before, and that is making a huge difference. And because like I'm so thankful for that, because I'm now like actually letting things move out of my body and not be stuck like they have been. So I'm basically just like not fighting my body anymore. I'm not neglecting, even though I was always taking care of my body, like in a lot of ways, I wasn't also in other ways. So, all right, let's wrap this up. I know this has been a really long one. But this healing work is deep. It is not overnight. It didn't happen overnight. Like you don't go into functional freeze overnight. So you don't heal it overnight either, but it is real. It is absolutely possible to heal from it and to come out of it and to regulate your nervous system. It's incredibly important that you do that. And because at the end of the day, literally nothing, no healing work that you do, no visualizing, journaling, exercise or manifesting, or like just even medications that you take, like nothing is going to be as effective as it could be if your nervous system is dysregulated. And that's just what it is. And so this healing, it is available to you. And if you relate to anything that I've said, like start small, but start. One nourishing meal, one walk, one hip circle, get on your floor, on your yoga mat, and just kind of take some hip circles, or, get the program that I mentioned from the Workout Witch. It is, I don't have a discount code or anything for you. It's not sponsored, but, just do YouTube some somatic exercises to help you release trauma and get out of functional freeze. Look up the holistic psychologist. She has some information on it as well as complex PTSD, aka CPTSD. Stop labeling yourself as like you're broken or you're just, this is just how you are. It is not just how you are. You're just dysregulated and your body wants to heal, but you need to listen and you need to get out of the mind and into the body to do so. Okay, so as I said, I am in the thick of this. This is what I'm doing right now. I will record an episode whenever I'm like through it more and update you all on the progress and everything. But I just really felt like it was important to share this because I think that so many things are misdiagnosed, and this functional freeze especially can go fly under the radar. I mean, so far under the radar, and then by the time you even realize that that's what's going on, you've got a autoimmune disorder, your hormones are all fucked up and you've just like got all kinds of other health ailments going on. And that's what happened to me. And so I will also record other episodes about all the things I'm doing specifically to heal the autoimmune, like Hashimoto's and hormone imbalance, all of that, because that's a lot of, I'm doing a lot of physical and emotional, energetic root cause things to heal that. But the main thing right now is nervous system, because I can do all of the things in the world to address my estrogen dominance and my hypothyroidism and all of that. But if my nervous system doesn't believe that it's safe and it's stuck in a freeze mode, like, guess what? My body is never going to release the excess weight because it doesn't believe that it's safe to do so. And it's never going to regulate hormones. My thyroid's not going to be right. You know, all those things. None of that's going to happen and be optimal if my nervous system is stuck in a freeze state. And that's the same for you. And I know I've said that multiple times in this episode, but I just like really want you to understand that. I want you to understand the magnitude. Like, nervous system regulation is not just a popular Instagram term right now. Just because a lot of people are talking about it does not mean that it is basic or like too basic or not important. It is so incredibly imperative. And I wish I had known that. And I wish I had taken it more seriously and given it the weight that it truly deserves. But I am now. So like, we can't go back, and I'm not going to shame myself about that. But if I can save you some time and help you do it faster than I did, then I would love to do that. So okay, I would love to hear if this episode, if any of it resonated with you, if you're feeling like this is also similar to what you're going through. And as always, you can enter the giveaway, the monthly giveaway, to win a free mini reality recode with me. By writing me a 5-star written review, taking a screenshot of that review before you submit it, and then sending it to me DM on Instagram. I pick one winner every month for that. And so that's where a mini reality recode, you get to choose one question or one area of concern, and I'll deep dive on that with you intuitively. So like, let's say, here's an example. Let's say let's go physical, since this whole episode has been about physical stuff pretty much. Let's say that you have estrogen dominance and you want to know like, what's the energetic reason, because everything is energetic before it's physical. So like, what is the energetic reason for why you have high estrogen compared to your progesterone? And what can you do physically and energetically to heal that and to shift and overcome that? So that could be something, or it could be something like, you know, why am I attracting the same kind of partner over and over and over? It could be like, you choose your topic and we will deep dive into that. That is what we can do in a mini reality recode. In a full length reality recode, which is a 70-minute session plus 1 full day of Voxer integration support, that's where we can deep dive into several different topics and really get to the meat of several different things and areas of life. So anyway, okay, this episode has been quite long, but if you are still here, thank you. And I hope that this was valuable to you. I will talk to you next Tuesday. If this episode sparked something in you, share it with a friend who needs it. Take a screenshot, post it to your Instagram story, and tag me at Intuitively Sydney. That's SIDNEY. I would love, love, love to see who's tuning in so I can connect with you and celebrate you. Have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next